Welcome back to Blunt Blowin Mama podcast. I am your host, Shanitria, and I'm joined by, well, the most special guest of all, my man. We're here for a couples episode, and we're actually doing it in the studio. And this is our first time doing this, and I'm
Mhm.
super excited. I asked you guys to submit us some questions, so I got the questions right here. I'm gonna answer them. We're gonna answer them to the best of our ability. But for folks who maybe this is your first time tuning in and catching Bay on the podcast, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and let them know who you are? You my man, you my baby daddy, and what else you do?
Yes, for those who don't know who I am, my name is Jared. I am, Blunt Blowin's mama's partner, man, baby daddy, all that good stuff. And yeah, I'm just happy to be on this new setting that we're on now and answering these questions and you guys getting to know me even more.
Okay, let's just dive into it because I was like, you guys, Bay's going to be on the podcast. Do you have any questions for him or us? Immediately I got like 15 questions here. I don't know if we're going to be able and some of them are repeats, but I don't know if we're going to be able to answer all of them, but we're going to do our best as we smoke this week. So the first question, I'm just going to dive right into it. Well, you know what, before I dive into the questions, maybe we should give an update, like let folks know where we're at. I feel like the last time you were on the podcast, what were we talking about? Did we do a Q&A that time too?
I believe so.
Yeah. That was like in May or something, like during the summer, right?
Hmm.
And so since then, like what's happened? We went on our first family vacation, which I did an episode about that. Talking about how that went for us. We went to New York.
Yep.
We tripped on shrooms. It didn't go well.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And I don't know, we've just been working on our relationship, working on our communication, trying to get better at it, and having bomb sex and smoking weed. Like that's all we've been doing. I don't know, we've been like doing more like family activities, I feel like. And I just think that like things are like the best they've been in our relationship in a long time. I think there's still room for improvement, but I think it's like it's better.
Oh,
What do you think?
I agree. I've been thinking more about making sure we dedicate time to each other and just just going out and making sure we prioritize that, even if we have to bring the kids, but at least have like our moments.
Yeah.
I think that was very important. That I felt like I didn't really appreciate and was not letting other things distract like what's going on in the world. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, I have my family, so got to make time for that.
Yeah, because if Barack Obama can make time for Michelle, Sasha, and Malia, you can make time for us. And he was the president. Okay.
I agree.
That's what I always say. Like, if Barack Obama can do it, you can do it. Okay, so the first question that I got from the audience that they want us to answer is how to communicate better with your spouse. I don't know. Like, we've been together 11 years, and I
Hmm.
feel like we just finally figured out how to communicate with each other. That's how I feel. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. We well, mainly me. I used to just bring up things right there in the moment, and then I realized that you kept telling me, "Wait till the kids go to bed," or just that'll be the right time so that I could hear you. We're not distracted, etc. So
You talking about when issues come up.
yeah, when it's like when it happens right then and there, I'll just like bring it up right away. But then like that's not good because the kids are right there.
So then you can't communicate the way you want
Right,
to.
right. So what I need to do is, or what I realize I need to start doing is either write it down, really try to remember, and just bring it up when they're in bed.
I think you've
And
been doing a good job with that.
yeah, yeah, I want to make sure I just keep it. It's all about being consistent. So if I say I'm going to do something and bring it up during that time, I need to do it. So I just either will, yeah, I'll just walk away and just take some time, or I'll go watch some TV so that I'm not like thinking about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been working, I'll say.
I mean, I had to basically force you to start these habits because I was just like, I don't know. It was just like when we were in New York, for instance, and you were just trying to have an argument and you were so upset about whatever you were so upset about it in the moment. And when I told you to bring it up later, you never brought anything up. So that's how I knew it wasn't really a problem. I was like, this guy is like about to ruin our day. like over some small thing. We're in the car, we're on the way to our destination with an activity for the kids, and you just are about to ruin all the fun trying to have an argument in the car on the way there. And I'm just like, what? So I told you, I was like, you need to write it down. And I posted this on Blunt Blowin Mama's Instagram page too. I was like, I told my man, I was like, you need to write that shit down. Put it in your notes app, write it on a piece of paper, let it all release all that there, and we can talk about it when we get back in California when our vacation is done, because we shouldn't let that ruin our vacation. And you, when
Mm.
I said that, what did you? What did, at first you were like, I don't want to write it down. Why were you resistant? Why didn't you just say, you know what, that's a great idea? It took you like, I had to say it like twice. I feel like for you to be like, oh yeah.
Maybe because I should have just been able to think of that myself, and I didn't. But
Okay, so there's ego.
yeah, and I mean, yeah, when someone's right, and you're just like, oh, why do they always have to just make so much sense of this? And yeah, that was it. But I wanted to ask something also, what you brought up. When I have more time where I don't bring it up right then and there, I have more time to really think about it. You're right. I tend to just forget about it because I realize it wasn't even that.
It's not even a big
It wasn't even a
deal.
big deal. So a lot of times when like things happen, and it is little things, I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna bring it up. I'm gonna wait. But then I realize again, like I don't need to. Oh, I'm good. I just understand that like she didn't. She just either try to help me or just try to just make my life easier. And I'm like, okay. So I just wanted to add that. But yeah.
But so the point, that was like a prime example of us communicating really well. I want to say is like, you were upset, and instead of me matching that energy and arguing back with you and potentially ruining our date and maybe even our entire vacation, I decided to set my ego aside and for the greater good and seeing the bigger picture of like, I want to have a good time. I want to enjoy this. This is a moment. Like, we should make this a good memory. I was just like, but I wasn't dismissing you. So I wanted you to know, like, hey, what you're saying matters. Let's write it down. Let's talk about it later. That let you know that I cared. But I also saw the bigger picture of the moment and not wanting to ruin that moment because it's something that you're feeling.
Right.
That may even have mostly probably had something to do with me, but definitely not the kids, definitely not the vacation.
Mhm.
And so, but then they're all wrapped up in that and they could possibly ruin their time too. So it's just like, come on. So when you did that, I was like, yeah. And you never brought it up. We came back to LA, you never brought anything up. So I was just like, this guy, like you were really in your feelings, like upset, like you wanted to fight. And if I hadn't been working on myself, then I would have matched that. We would have argued. It would have been a really bad day. Like the kids would have felt that. They would have seen us arguing. It wouldn't have been good for anybody.
Right.
So it takes at least one person to be able to step back and say, hey, let's not do this, right? Like this is not the time. Like, to just see, like really see your partner in that moment and see them as like, the little kid version. Sometimes when you do that, I just see you as like a little boy just having like a little tantrum, like a little toddler. And I'm just like, ugh, here he go again. Another fucking tantrum. And that lets me handle you better. And I don't yell at you because it's like that's probably what happened when you were a kid. Somebody probably just yelled at you. And so I'm just gonna be like, okay, I hear you. Can we just talk about it when it's a more appropriate time? Because when we do, on those moments when you actually do bring it up later, we actually talk through it. We turn off the TV, we put our phones to the side, right? Like we might have a little weed that we might smoke, either during or maybe after we finish our conversation, but like the kids are in bed. So it's like uninterrupted time. And that's, I
Mhm.
feel like when we have those moments, we communicate best and then our days go better, I feel like.
Yeah, and when we have those moments too, I realize, wow, we talked for this
Yeah, we'll be talking
topic
for like
2
hours.
hours, 3 hours, and then like we decide like, okay, we're good, and then we want to like either watch TV or do something. And we're like, oh no, we gotta go to
We
bed.
gotta go to bed. We'll spend
So,
all
but
night talking.
but I realize that's really great because like I'm thinking about just us and what we're talking about and handling it and moving on and
Hmm.
um yeah, just us like keep on just growing from that.
So communication between, with your spouse or your partner or your significant other, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. It's all about just putting aside your ego. That's what I would say. And being really present and seeing your partner for like who they are and those
Mhm.
moments when they're being terrible. Just really see them and see that I would say like 8 times out of 10 when you're in a mood, or even when I'm in a mood, it literally has nothing to do. Like when I'm in a mood, it has nothing to do with you usually, and when you're in a mood, it has nothing to do with me. It's always some bigger overarching issue, and maybe I did something to kind of set you off in that moment, and now you're upset at me. Like you think you're upset at me, but it's not me. That's how I feel sometimes. So that, and when I see that, or I'm just like, I see you as like a little boy Jared, like the little boy version of you, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, does he need a hug? Like, does he need a moment? Like, let me just, like, I just see it now, and that makes it better to give each other grace that way. So the best way that I feel like to communicate is to really see each other. Like you said, find the right moment to talk about shit. Cause sometimes like in the grocery store aisle is not the time to talk
All
about,
right. Yeah.
that time they cheated on you or something. Like you don't want to talk about that. There are moments. You have to choose your moments. And I think that people say choose your arguments or pick your battles or whatever, but I think it's pick the time to have your battles, more or less.
Right.
Like you shouldn't be like, oh, I'm not going to talk about that, because if it bothers you, then you should talk about it. But it's just finding the right time and setting to have those conversations so that they can be completed.
Yeah, and to remember to bring it up if it's really bothering you too. And yeah, again, yeah, it's about having that right moment. And
Right.
yeah, I realized that lately, and yeah, I've been able to just move on from things and or just figure it out myself to realize that it's just like really worth not worth bringing up more in a sense. It's more like is this going to help us better ourselves
Yeah.
and understanding like you understanding me and me understanding you.
It's gonna
So
help move our relationship forward.
yeah,
Like, is this a me thing or is this a us thing? And
right.
I like had to tell you that too. Like, and this is from me doing therapy and finally processing and being better, but just like me realizing that like, is this a you thing? Like, is this something that you need to talk about with somebody for you, like a therapist or something, or like whoever, or like vent with a friend, or is this a me thing? So don't put it on me if it has nothing to do with me.
Mhm.
Like, and like ruin my peace and my energy. And I try to do the same thing. It's just like, because I want to protect your peace.
Right.
And some things are not, even though we're together, that doesn't mean that you have to do so much emotional labor with me, and I'm not going to do it with you.
Right.
So I think that that keeps us like light, and
Yeah.
letting things wash off of you more instead of just holding on to shit, one resentment after another. Like it just only, it's gonna explode
I
eventually.
definitely never will recommend that because I tried that.
Yeah, and then go well.
It didn't go well, and it's just not worth it.
Don't do that, y'all.
Yeah, just don't.
Don't do that.
Even if you think you could do it for however many years, trust me, I've done it, and it backfires on not even only your partner, but like if you have kids,
Yeah,
your
because then they
friends,
pick up
work,
on it.
even
Work.
work.
Yeah.
It's just not
If
worth
you're not
it.
communicating well in in your intimate relationship, I'm like willing to bet everything I got that you're not communicating well in your friendships and your work relationships. Like you're probably suffering across the board because you're not communicating properly. And I used to tell him that, he'd be like, when you learn how to communicate with me, you're gonna learn how to everything else is gonna flow because you're gonna learn how to communicate with everybody else. Like, because communication is key to every successful relationship, especially friendships too. Like if you're not communicating with your friends, how are they going to know what you need as a friend to be happy in this relationship? It's all about being able to express yourself, be vulnerable, and honor yourself, set up boundaries, and actually enforce them, be consistent, pick the right time to talk about things. Like it's just being an adult.
Yeah,
And it's hard
it
though.
is.
It's so hard. But yeah. Okay. So I think we answered that. So someone else asked, how did I go about discussing postpartum depression with you? And that's like really, when I saw that question, I really thought about it, and I don't know if we ever had a discussion. Did we? Yeah, we did, huh?
It was more like you were just telling me what you were going through,
I was just telling you. Dang,
but then like,
you gotta put it like that. Like she don't really talk to me, but she just tells me.
but no, it was good that you was telling me and was like really explaining as much as detail as possible about it because I felt like you were educating me as well. So I really just didn't know.
I can't remember. the first time I told you that, I thought because I didn't realize I had it until like years of having it, right? And so that like earlier this year, that's when I realized that I had postpartum depression and I was going through it and I didn't know it.
Hmm.
And so that's when I decided like, maybe I should tell him. And I think I forgot how the conversation went, but I think it was something along the lines of like, if you think about it, I was just rehashing the past couple years and stuff. And I was just like, if you think about it, I did this and I wasn't doing that. Like, like I like bought all this stuff to start projects and never finished them, and I
Yeah.
had like everywhere was a mess, like nothing was really put away, or like I wasn't throwing things away like I usually do. And like the bongs aren't getting, like I wasn't cleaning the bongs the way I used to, and
You were
like
in bed a lot too.
and I was in bed a lot. I was sleeping a lot.
Hmm.
Um, I wasn't like engaging with the kids, and like I think you just thought that that's just who I was. Like because you never said at any point, like you just said you didn't think it was depression, postpartum depression, but at no point were you like, babe, you're not yourself. Like it was like you were like battling me more, even though that's what it felt like for me, even though I was going through that. And so when I finally realized, oh shit, like this is what this is, because I'm just thinking like, oh, this is my life now. Like I am just this person who doesn't work out and who sleeps all day and doesn't really engage with her kids and is like not a good romantic partner, and just like doesn't clean and isn't really cooking, and like is like they letting her home be a mess, like for real, it was bad. And yeah, you didn't, I guess you felt like, I don't know. I felt like you were just like, oh, that's how she is now, and I was just like, oh, that's how I am now. So that's just what it was, until I finally just was like, wait, something is not right. Like that's actually not who you are, girl. Like this is not right. Like it was so many things that happened, but like once I was able to find the language and realize what I was going through and what it was, then I brought it to you, and I was just like, and I said all those things I just said about like how life was the past 2 years or so, and like you were just like, yeah, like what were you like? I don't know. Did you said you didn't know?
I didn't know, and yeah, I was battling. I guess the reason why you felt like I was like battling you is because I didn't know how to express what was going on because I didn't know what was going on. So my way of getting you to change is, I guess, saying not being understanding, but also not knowing exactly what was going on. Because I was just like really just fighting you, like, come on, like, what's going on? But like not knowing what you were going through. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you weren't being supportive. If I felt like if you would have noticed right away, like even if it took you like 6 months, 6 months, and instead of like it being 2.5 years, but or 2 years, whatever. But if I felt like if 6 months in, you would have been like, dang, like this is not what she normally does. If you would have noticed that and started supporting me, I feel like it would have never progressed for as long.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
But it just felt worse because like I felt like you didn't notice, you weren't noticing me, and so and I would not, and I was actively losing me. So it was, yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, it was. It was during that time. But hey, we're here now. So
Okay. But yeah, that's how I just had to tell you. I felt like I had to tell you. Back to the answer to the question.
mhm.
I felt like I just had to tell you because like if something, so you can know, you can have an explanation behind the behavior, and when you see the shift, so like what's happening, because like I'm not, who I am now is not who I was last year this time.
Yeah, facts.
So if you saw that shift, I needed you to know why it was happening.
Yeah, like you kind of have to really break it down. You can't just like I feel like you just can't like I don't know, most men, I don't know, but just like with me, it's like how you broke it down and how you also you showed me examples. You was telling me like really kind of detail to detail what you were going through. And like I finally like, oh, wait, yeah, because you didn't do this when this was happening before. And because you're on this is why you're acting, this is why this is happening. Because normally when, yeah, you're not pregnant or before, you're not like this. So you had to really like break it down to me, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah, so I would just recommend anyone who is going or who's finally realizing, like, hey, I'm experiencing some form of postpartum depression or anxiety,
Hmm.
like, you should just tell your partner. Don't assume they know or they're going to pick up on it or they're going to say something, because as you can see, most men don't fucking know. They don't know shit. They ain't paying attention. And to be fair, you have a new kid, a new baby in the house. So, like, yeah, probably not going to be paying as much attention to you and trying to keep this baby alive is like what he's focusing on, and wondering why this bitch ain't helping me as much. Like, I feel like that's what you were thinking. And that's all wrong. And it also just goes back to men needing to educate themselves really on what happens. Because so many men would be like, I want all these kids. Let me hit this because I gotta break this shit down because this shit drives me crazy. Like, it just drives me. That was supposed to be a much bigger hit.
I'm trying to make a new bowl.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna have to make a new bowl. Not you.
Okay.
Um, but when men are saying they want kids, what bothers me is that they want the baby, but they don't really want the pregnancy or the postpartum, because y'all don't think about that. You don't think about the fact that the person that you're asking to have your child is going to be pregnant for 9 months, basically a year. And their body is going to be changing month over month at a rapid rate. Like, 1 month my nipples hurt. The next month I got cramps. The next month I like have heartburn. The next month my stomach is bigger. I can't fit anything. Like, the next month, like, I can't lay on my I can only lay on my side. The next month you got to help me up every single day. And the next month I'm peeing 5 times in the middle of the night. Like, imagine your body going through all of those changes in such a short amount of time. And everybody who talks to you only wants to ask about the baby and not you. Can you imagine being ignored for a year? And like your body going through changes for a year. And men ask that, and without even taking the steps to educate themselves on what they need to do to support that person during that time, or just to even know what's happening. If any man actually took like 10 minutes to Google pregnancy and postpartum, like what happens afterwards, breastfeeding, all of that, and then you looked at the person you're asking to have your baby, you would be like, oh shit, man, she's about to go through. Oh shit. You would be like, how can I support you? How can I be prepared? What do you need from me? Like, in doing your own research, you would be prepared instead of like, dang, I didn't know this happened. Oh my God, what's that? Oh, like, you should already know. If you're asking and you're consenting to have a kid, then you should have done your research as well. So you should know what's about to happen to you, how your life is about to change,
No, you're right.
you know?
But you also have to look at it as not to give excuses, but
Okay.
just if you everyone experienced pregnancy different as well. Whoever whoever that person is, and whoever everyone's.
Okay, but you should still know the basics.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree. You should know the basis, but sometimes what you see online is they're giving you just like really surface.
It's more than nothing.
Yeah, true, true.
So you're making excuses. You're saying that you didn't do any research.
No,
Because
I'm saying that I did not do enough research. I should have done
okay.
more. I should have just even. I think I did ask my mom, but like my mom just had a totally different experience because I did ask her like for some advice.
Okay.
So maybe I should have asked someone else.
Maybe you should ask somebody who can give you better
Yeah,
advice.
I mean, no offense to my mom.
No offense.
My mom had she just had a different experience, and it was a different time,
Yeah, your mom
etc.
is like 60 something.
Yeah, I'm
You're
saying.
asking her about something that happened before the internet.
Yeah, but if we were gonna have another kid
Not
now,
before the internet. You're
no,
not that old.
if we were gonna have another kid now, I definitely would have just. Now I just know how to just ask someone around my age, around your age,
I mean, this
or
if we
do
were to
more
have
research.
another kid, that would be our third kid. I
Oh,
would
I
hope
mean,
you would
I don't
know.
know. I don't know.
Damn, like.
But I'm saying if I see something that's happening that's different from what I've never seen before, I'm gonna ask someone else around, your age. I even reach out to your friend, like even ask, one of your friends,
Mhm.
obviously that have a kid, that and get their advice.
So do you think that men should do more research when if they think that they want to have kids, they should research what pregnancy and having a kid is actually like?
Yeah, or if they're too lazy to do the research, they could just easily just ask either one of their family members that's
Maybe
probably
they
the
don't
same
have
age.
anybody they can talk to.
Well, there's people out there, even reaching out to someone outside that might could help out. There's people always on Instagram and all that you could reach out to outside.
Okay, well, you gotta trust your source. Like, you can't just be asking anybody for advice on like
No, someone that's
how to be a
credible.
dad.
No, no, someone that's credible. I'm not just saying
Because
just ask
if
anyone.
you ask like Boozy how to be a dad, that's gonna be different than asking like there's different levels of dad. Like, I guess you got to figure out what kind of dad you want to be first of all.
Yeah, I'll say so. I'm saying someone credible, someone that has kids with the person
And
that they're
you
still
found
with.
that easy to find?
Hmm. Yeah.
Dang, I'm like, dang, you gotta think about it
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah. I
It's a
mean,
no.
no.
That means it's a no.
I mean, I know two. I probably could ask, but at least I have
And
that.
how long have you had that since we got together? Because when we got together, you said you wanted to have kids,
Yeah.
like within the first few dates. So you're saying that in that moment, you knew what that meant. You had talked to people about that, or you were
I
just
had
saying it.
a I had an idea
Okay.
what it meant, but sometimes that doesn't align to what really is happening at all. So
So you didn't know.
I just felt
You
like
didn't know.
I should have asked a lot more questions. I should just ask a lot more questions during certain periods of time instead of just pushing through them, thinking that I could figure it out. That's what yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's go to our next question. Someone else asked, how have the dynamics changed after children? I mean, we have less time. It's like very obvious. Like, we don't have time for anything ever, and we're always late everywhere all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, just
That's like the biggest
time.
thing. And more laundry. More laundry,
More
more
food.
food.
Mm-hmm.
No time, always late. That's about it.
Yeah, you summed it up.
That's really like pretty much. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those are the biggest changes. Like, you can't get around it, especially the laundry part. Shit, damn, the dishes. Ooh. Especially when like you have like a toddler and a baby. So like when Zora was a toddler and Esco was a baby, we had the bottles and we had like the sippy cups and we had our cups. I was
Yeah,
like,
it was so much cleaning all
this
the time.
is hell. This is what hell looks like. I am so sure hell is full of sippy cups, bottles, and wine glasses.
Just have a dishwasher. Just make sure you're.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, make sure you have a dishwasher for sure. But yeah, that's hot. I mean, do you want to add anything? I
Yeah,
feel like
I
that's a
feel like I
major
want to get into
change.
more. Maybe more. See, that still revolves around time because, like, when you have work and other things to do, your child needs your attention. So it's all about prioritizing. Yeah, that all leads to time. Yeah, you hit all the key words on it. So I don't have anything much to add.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, because baby, you ain't gonna have no time for shit
yeah.
except sex. Prioritize that. But then if you're prioritizing sex, that probably means you're not doing some other shit.
Yes,
uh,
sacrifice. Yeah.
it's worth the sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, ups and down. Hold on, wait. How do you tips on I'm like, huh? Tips on introducing weed with sex. Tips for CBD lubes. Oh, that's a good segue. So yeah. Do you have tips on introducing weed with sex and tips for CBD lubes?
I'll say go to a if you want to order online or go to a store that I don't know if they even deliver and whoever. Basically, just try as many as you can to find the right one that is comfortable for
The
for
right,
both.
the right weed.
Sorry, the right weed, lube. Just you have to try. You have
Yeah.
to try different ones to figure out what works best for you and your partner. I feel like we found a couple, and I know, okay, when we're in the moment, I could pull this out, or I could do this to get the mood or whatever. And yeah, that just works. So if I felt like I didn't, or mainly is you just being able to know, like, hey, let's try this, or hey, I have this, and me just being open about it and not like,
Sometimes.
yeah, sometimes, but at least still knowing that, oh, okay, this one is like really great. And yeah, I just kind of fell in love with it because it's something that I like and you like. So I guess that's what I'll recommend.
I mean, yeah, definitely, definitely try. Like, be open and experiment together. I would also say, like, sex with weed doesn't always have to be like smoking it. Like, you could also be taking edibles,
Hmm.
together as like dessert, and know that's going to kick in around a certain time, and that can prepare you for having a sexy moment, or drinking. Like, we like to drink a tea that has cannabis in it, and like that stuff, like that, like it's just like your normal night routine, and you're not smoking or anything, but you can smoke. And if you do, like, yeah, just write that shit down. Like, this one got me in the mood. This one didn't. This one
Hmm.
made me go to sleep and like I was snoring. And like this one, so then like, okay, this is like the one. Like, this is the strain.
Hmm.
And if you've never used weed before, then I would definitely say start with the edibles, drinks, tinctures route, and then build up to smoking.
Hmm.
Because for some people, smoking can be like a big act that can be like a really big deal. So I would say that. And then as far as lubes, I mean, have fun. Like, most of them, read the ingredients, but most of them are like, I find, like, have less ingredients and are safer than the ones you'll get at the sex shop, because it's usually like there's like oil based arousal oils, which are great, but they are not latex friendly. So if you are, using condoms, then you can't use these arousal oils that are on the market, but they are great. But there are some water-based products out there, like Kush Queen has a really great one. So definitely, like, just explore and have fun and be willing, like, be open-minded. It's definitely better, I find. What do you think?
Um, yeah, the lubes are just like the water-based ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they are pretty good. I'm just thinking about them. Yeah, it's just.
I really like the oil-based ones better, for me personally, because they're like moisturizing as well for like my vagina.
Hmm.
So, and then they also heighten the sensation and make it like super sensitive, like my clit super sensitive, which makes sex better, obviously.
Right.
Like, more blood like rushes there. I could just feel it, just so fucking good. Which is good just by myself, you know what I'm saying? But with you, it's great too. And so luckily we don't use condoms. But like, yeah, that is really great. So if you don't use condoms, I would definitely try to get an oil based
Well,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. But if you're using condoms, get that water based. Don't be playing. You don't want that condom to break. Don't be out here playing with your life. So okay, yeah. Let's see what's next. What's the next question? What do you think so far? What do you think of these questions?
No, they're good questions. I mean, it's relatable.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so many people are basically asking the same question, which is, how do you how do you keep a how do you keep, or how do you stay, these typos, how do you stay in a long-term relationship and keep it healthy? And basically, how do you balance parenting and married life? So I feel like that's all like the same question.
Yeah, it is. Where you want to start from?
Um, I mean, I'm always just like, it's just communication at the end of the day. Communication and bomb sex. Like, if you're not connecting on a skin to skin, like physical level in whatever physical way you prefer, whether that be cuddling, spooning, little oral sex here and there, like whatever you like, whatever your
Mm.
thing is, hand jobs, whatever. If you're not like connecting in that way and communicating well, then I just don't think you're gonna make it. Like, you're just
Mm,
not
yeah,
gonna
that's the
make it.
foundation.
Yeah, like good sex and good communication. I mean, because to be friends, like at the end of everything, you gotta be like, yeah, that's my best friend. Like, that's my, because if something good happens, who's the first person you want to call? It should definitely be. I feel like it should be the person you're with, like your husband, wife, spouse, whatever.
I agree.
You should want to call them first. Like, and they should be like your person. Like, for everything, not just like medical shit, but like everything,
Yeah.
like defact, like, okay, like, let's go, like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like y'all should be friends, because when the sex part ain't gonna be popping like it, because sometimes the sex can't sex. Sometimes y'all can't sex how you used to sex. People get sick, like you get pregnant and things happen, like your body changes, like things happen where you might not be able to have sex, right? But if you're still always friends and you still have really great communication, you're gonna last. That's what I feel like. But you gotta be friends first. And that's like the key. And if that's how you'll be able to survive becoming parents. Like, survive. That's how you'll make it through all the different changes that you'll go through in life if you're friends. So like, when people are like, what's it like after kids, like married life, which we're not married, but sure, married. I feel like it's the same, because we're still doing the same shit we normally do. Like, we're still friends, so the friendship persists. That's how
Yeah,
I feel.
it's like the reason why you originally have this relationship, have this family with this person is because of whatever, because you guys bonded from going out to concerts or going out to eat,
Like, you're
trips.
foodies, or
Yeah,
you like to travel, or
yeah,
like for us, we like festivals and concerts and music,
right.
but we're also kind of foodies as well.
Yeah, so you have to like, yeah, go back to how you originally, started that connection.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, don't try to like add it every day where you need to do something like you were bringing up. Like, at least just prioritize it when you can. Or if it's this one time a month, at least just start from that and just build from there, basically. But
Yeah.
yeah, like
Don't ever stop date night. Ooh,
yeah,
when you stop date night, that's when you know the relationship's in trouble.
yeah,
That's how I feel like that's the first red flag.
yeah.
I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. They ain't had a date night in 6 months. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes, it's gonna get spicy.
Mm,
Because date night is when you talk about stuff that, like, you're able to talk about things, you're able to catch up on each other's lives and reconnect.
I
That's what I
agree.
feel.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. Without any distractions
Yeah.
from the
The
babies,
kids.
yeah, whatever,
The
yeah.
little tiny people, little baby humans. They're such haters, man.
Yeah, they
They
try all the
they
time.
anytime we're like close, then all of a sudden a little person will just come into the room and just like get right in between us. A tiny human, and then just look up, like, say something.
Yep.
I want you to say something. I'm gonna sit here in between y'all. You're gonna deal with it. It's just like, okay. Or like, whenever like you're like kissing on me and Zora will be like, "Daddy," and I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh my god, haters, both of them hating. So you gotta have those date nights.
Hmm.
Get that babysitter that the kids love. They'll be excited to see you go because they got their favorite babysitter. So,
Yeah, I think they do whatever they want almost. So,
within reason.
oh yeah, they try it.
Yeah, you got to get a babysitter they like, or
Mhm.
grandma or uncle, auntie, somebody. Um, but yeah, that's like the key, man. That's the key. That's the key. Okay, so what's our next question? How? Oh well, this is like, I feel like we kind of. Oh, actually, you know what? This is a good one. They want to know, this person wants to know, what is your genuine opinion on weed while breastfeeding or nursing your kids? I'm curious. I'm all for what you do. I'm just curious.
Hmm.
Oh, you can finish it. Go ahead. He's got to finish his bong hit before he answers the question.
Oh. Sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Yes. This person wants to know wants you to know your genuine opinion on smoking weed while breastfeeding or nursing your children. I'm all for what you do. I'm just curious. So they want to know, what were your thoughts on me smoking weed and breastfeeding your children. Just make sure to put that in there.
Yeah. I have to say, I like how you approached it where you didn't like blatantly just have our child or kids,
Well,
exposed to
when
it.
breastfeeding, like he was a baby, so
Yeah, like he wasn't exposed to it in a way where like you were literally like breastfeeding while doing anything, even like smoking, drinking, vaping, eating edible, nothing. You always did it where you was conscious, where either you say, okay, during this time, or since I already pumped, I did this. I know how to. You have more control over it, so you were more responsible about it. I think I would have had an issue if it was like you were literally doing it, like what I just those examples I was saying, like having our child while you're breastfeeding and doing it, or like child's right there just doing it, basically smoking, or
what, blowing smoke in front of the baby?
yeah, or not even in front of, just around the area and around the same room where our child could get exposed to it. You just very conscious, and I mean, and you did your research too, obviously, and everything. So that's what made me feel comfortable, and I mean, I trust you. So that's that part as well.
But you didn't feel like at any point anything would happen to the baby or anything, our son.
No, I mean, again, it's just no real data about it where like it's it's like saying things could happen like that in that sense. So um yeah, that's why I didn't have an issue.
Okay. I mean, but I also was pregnant and I was like consuming weed too. So I feel like if you would have had a problem, you would have said something when I was pregnant.
Yeah, if I didn't bring it up while you were pregnant, then it would.
Definitely won't matter while I'm breastfeeding.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, you when you were pregnant, and I know you tell everyone this, you weren't doing the same routine that you were doing while you weren't pregnant in terms of smoking.
Yeah.
So that didn't bring up any red flags for me to bring up anything. Like you really like calmed it. You did it like, oh, I don't remember, like
It was so like rare. I
it
was
was only
like,
when you were like in pain,
yeah, when I
or
really needed
yeah,
it.
where you really in like it helped you.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw that you were relieved. So if my partner's relieved and comfortable and could like, you're going through a lot, with carrying him and all that. So yeah, you were comfortable. You were able just to spend time with me. So yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, and like you even went to the dispensary. Remember, you got me those capsules to
Yeah.
take, and you got the dose was too high. And remember, and I was just like, you didn't tell me, and I just took it, and I was like so high.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that powerful like that. Cause I'm looking at it, it's like it's a capsule. Like this capsule, what can
I
this do?
just took it. I didn't even ask him, like, babe, how many milligrams is this? I was just like so desperate. I was like, okay. And then afterwards, I was like, hey, how many milligrams was that?
Oh man.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm so high. And I felt like I hated it because I was pregnant and I was so high, but also just in general, I don't like feeling like that, like
Yeah.
so high. So I was just like, oh my God, this mother. And I was just so mad. I was like, I just had to send him to the dispensary. And of course, you just bought anything. And it was just a mess because I should have asked. But, anyways, that happened as
Yeah.
well when I was pregnant.
Yeah, it did.
What was I like? I was pretty far in my second trimester at that point, I think, or in my early third trimester.
I mean, you say you was in pain,
Because
so
I was big at that point. I
yeah,
remember.
yeah. So I just wanted to. I was like, all right, you're big. You're big, and you probably needed the big dose or something. I don't know.
That's what you
I
were
didn't
thinking?
even. No, I didn't know. I was just thinking that I wanted something to really help. I just
Y'all.
wanted something that I knew that would just do
That
the
was
job
actually
and help.
gonna work.
Yeah.
Not even realizing that like my tolerance was so low at that point because I hadn't, like you said, I hadn't been consuming like I normally do. So like my
Mhm.
tolerance was like it was done. Anyways, that I hope that answers your question. Okay, so we got a couple more. Um Somebody else wants to know what's it like being a cannadad, a dad who smokes weed. What's that like? What's it like being a daddy that smokes weed?
I have to say it's really good when I have my moments because the kids just be asking me so many questions.
I
Baby Debbie one
know.
is just always fill up my water and all that, and yeah, all that. So
Play
just
cards with me.
yeah,
Build blocks with me. Come play this video game with me. Come do this puzzle with me. Let's go to Target and buy a toy.
all the time. I get that.
Let's go to Target and buy a toy. This is a very common one that gets on my nerves. I'm like, no, we're not gonna go to Target and buy a toy. Let's go to Target and buy a Hot Wheels track. Get real specific.
Yeah,
I'm just like, no.
but I
Yeah,
wanted
but
to
anyways,
say
how does weed help you?
they our two kids definitely understand. Like if I tell them, hey, Daddy needs to have a smoke break or
And
something.
I can't believe you say it to them like that. I hate that you say it to them like
I
that.
know I say to him
They'll be
like
like, "Oh,
that.
daddy's smoking." I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like, I just hate. I don't want them to be like daddy's smoking because people can think it's like cigarettes.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I could start being specific with them, but
Don't be like smoking weed because then they can tell that Zora can tell her teacher.
that's well,
We'll talk about it later.
the whole point is that when I tell them that, they both say, "Okay, Daddy, we're gonna be in our room, and you just tell us when you're done."
Are you serious?
They close the door. They close the door, and then when I'm done, I knock or I go in the door. I open the door and I go in and I say, "All right, I'm all ready, son. Let's play. Okay, I'm ready to play this game. Let's do
Aww.
that." So I'm glad they give me my moment. And no, they don't come at all. Like they will not open that door until I'm done, and they do that for me. So
Hmm.
it kind of just started,
I
but
realize I'm like, because they don't do that for when I shut. Actually, I take that back because like when I shut the door to the bedroom, that's when I'm usually like smoking. Maybe I'll be working, or I'll
mhm.
just be, sometimes I'll just be laying on the bed listening to music. Like you go in and you'll be like, what the? And I'll just be like laying on the bed, like just chilling. I haven't just finished smoking. I'm just chilling. I have the door shut, and so like Escott used to just like barge in, and I'm just like this little boy,
Yeah.
like you're like, what are you doing? But now I told him, I was like, baby, you need to knock, okay? He was like, I need to knock? I'm like, yeah, you knock first and you wait for mama and then you come in. And he was like, okay. So now he's been knocking before he comes in. Zora
Mhm.
already knocks, but now
Yeah.
he'll be like, little knock. And I'll be like, oh, you can come in. He'll be like, mama. Like, so he's 3, so he's learning.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, still for someone from being 3, being able to
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, I know that Zozo, she understands, but yeah, even for him, I'm impressed that he just no matter what, like even if it's whatever you might need, he'll just wait.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I
Well, he
appreciate.
tries his best.
Yeah, well, no, for me, he waits. He doesn't even. Yeah, so I appreciate that. It's
So weed helps you, and the kids know it.
yeah, like
Basically.
yeah, that communication. I like, and it's growing too. It's getting better and better between them, and yeah,
What, like your relationship with them?
yeah. Just because I bring weed just to have that time to really just smoke and just get ready to just deal with whatever they want, and yeah,
So you smoke, then you go play.
that helps me a lot. Yeah, because I get to also feel like I'm a kid again.
Yeah.
So they like how silly I get
Yeah.
and all that. So, because that's what they want from me. So,
Yep.
for me to get to that level, sometimes I need to add weed. Sometimes I don't, but
Yeah.
I guess we just kind of just enhances it a little bit.
Yeah, it makes you
So,
more silly.
hmm
And they like that.
yeah.
It's still like it feels silly in like a weird way when you're not high. But when you're high and you're playing cars, it's so much fun. I'm like, get out of here. And they're just like, and then Escott cheats. He's such a cheater. He'll be like, he'll just change the rules mid game. And I'll be like, you can't do that. And he'll be like, oh, I won. And I'm like, you can't do that. That's not how you play. So, but when you're high, you're able to just laugh and just be like, this
Just play
don't take
along,
it
huh?
personal. We're just gonna play along. Yeah,
Hmm
I'll do it. Whatever. I'm in on it. But I didn't realize that it helped you like that. But yeah, I'd love to hear that.
hmm
Okay. So okay, yeah, this is the last question. Someone said, how did you guys find your way back to each other? So we did have a rough patch last year, and I don't know. I was gonna leave. I was like, it's a wrap. It's done. Put
hmm
a fork in it. Like I was over it. And yeah, we were like really, really close to breaking up.
Yeah.
How did we find out? I was in therapy. Let me tell you something. Therapy for me was like a huge part in it, and like us getting back together. Like if I wasn't in therapy, we wouldn't have gotten back together at all.
I agree.
So it's therapy. And then me eventually deciding to start really taking care of myself more. I think that helped a lot too. Because then I was able to better articulate my wants, my needs, and my boundaries and my deal breakers because I was actively working on myself. So I feel like that's how I was able to work on the relationship because I could articulate everything I wanted and needed better because I knew myself better as a woman,
Mm-hmm.
and as a mom, like as just the new me, like the like the 3.0 version of me. So, but it's like you can't get mad if somebody's not loving you right when like you're not loving you right.
That's true. No,
Why are you looking at me like
no, no, no,
that?
no.
Are
You're
you
right. No,
high?
you're right. You're right.
Or are you like, damn, I just can't wait to get on that.
No, because like everything you're saying, I wanted to say that first. I realized I had to take accountability, but then like when I was even trying to like even start anything with you, I I see it as like you were like a firewall, and I was like someone who was trying to hack into you. And it gets you to basically open up and take everything you have and all that basically, but you just kept fighting it, and then I realized, oh wow, she really has changed. I guess it was my way of testing you, but not like I wasn't thinking about like it like that basically. Like it was more of, wow, like you're just making so much sense. Because before you were just so, however you were, but then like it was me also. Like I take accountability because it's really me who was starting it, and you were just like, yeah. So I had to just
Defending
understand that.
myself. Yes.
Yeah. So I had to also understand that, but it made me also think that, wow, I really need to like start therapy or want to be to have the same or similar keys and information that you got from joining therapy and doing, being part of therapy and doing all that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I think all that. But no, it was really you a lot with you going to therapy. Um, I think that had a huge part of it because you saw a lot of things and was able to share some gems with me, but then make me want to really like now make changes.
So
So
you're saying that us finding our way back to each other, you had no part in that. It was just me.
I know,
Which I will happily take all the credit.
no, it was more of me
But
also
you said you did start taking more accountability.
and try to listen and be consistent. I know I say this word, just listen and be consistent with it. So I was listening and I really wanted to change for you because I love you. So yeah,
Oh, what did you say? I couldn't hear that.
I wanted to really change for you because I love you. So
Ooh.
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I mean, there was a point where you said to me, I don't know when did you say this. What was it like like 3 months ago or so, you were like, I'm falling in love with you again. And I was just like, because I hate that shit, y'all. But I was just like, inside, I was still, a part of me was like cringy, like very cringy. But another part of me is like, oh, that's so. You know what? You're okay too. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was really like sweet, and I love that you told me that. You know,
Yeah, no, I what? Yeah.
you and then you like got into, like, you described, you were like, it's like my love for you is renewed. It's like, what were you saying? Like, you were like so deep into it, and I was like, oh, I'm getting the monologue. Like, okay. What was going on in that moment when you said that?
Well, you were just communicating so much to me about, your childhood, what you were experiencing, in the sense of like your relationships and all that. And you just putting everything together where why you were doing things you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get that when you explained that to me. It just made so much sense. And then like you weren't pregnant, and you weren't going through that whole part
No
basically.
hormonal changes at the
Yeah.
moment.
So you were just getting back into like how how where you wanted to be, you
Uh-huh.
know, and I felt that, and
Ooh.
then I was like, this is the person who I fell in love with.
Oh,
But
so you felt like I was like had been abducted by like
yeah, I knew that you loved me, but it was like a love of where like
they feel like an obligatory love, like because we were in such a bad space. Like I felt very much like roommates at one point.
yeah, yeah, like a friend that you love, but like a yeah roommate basically.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I don't want this type of love. I want the in love. I want the person who will just like do spontaneous things for me, and it could be anything. And yeah, I just realized that you were like that before, and then these are the reasons why. You just explained that in detail.
Well,
So
I was like that and then you ruined it.
yeah, yeah, of course, yeah, I ruined. Yeah, I did. But then like I realized I missed that, and I realized that like most men don't even get that, or get even half of that. Some, I guess, but just from my perspective, yeah, I just loved all those things that
And you
you
just
did before.
squandered it. You just said, fuck that shit, bitch. I'm gonna be terrible to you. Basically. That's what you did. That's what it felt like. And I was just like, well, why am I doing all this shit for this ungrateful ass motherfucker? Like, you
Hmm.
want me to be like these hoes on the TV? You want me to be a real housewife of Atlanta? I'm gonna give you that energy. Like, if that's what you want, like, that's fine. Cause like I could do that too. Like, and then you got all scared and you were like, oh shit, no, I don't want that. I don't want that life. I don't know, like why men have to like why y'all have to see things go completely left and almost lose your relationship for you to like straighten up and realize like no, like she's about to leave. Like I need to like pull it together.
I
Like
don't
you
know.
have to hit rock bottom. Like what's up with that?
I don't know. I can't speak for every man. I
Like,
know that.
speak for yourself then, because that was you.
Yeah, no, I just didn't want to lose that, and I didn't want anyone else to have that.
Oh, okay, all right. There's the truth.
Yeah.
Well, why does it have to get to that point? Why can't you just see it in the moment when everything's good before you need therapy and I need therapy?
Just because I guess with me it was just more that I just keep thinking I have this unlimited amount of time, and I really don't.
Unlimited amount of time for what?
To like say that, oh, you know what, I'll do this, so I'll change this at this, I'll do this at this time, but then
Like
like,
what time?
oh, like I say, oh, let me start a fresh week. Let me wait till Monday. Oh, let me just wait till
It's a
start of
slippery slope.
yeah, because like that time you could be just you're wasting it, because
Yeah.
you're not making it a priority. So I was like, all right, I just gotta start making things right away a priority. Like if you tell me this bothers you, I need like if it's not having a consistent schedule of cleaning the bathroom.
Hmm.
or taking more of the initiative. You know, just I guess just take. I realize I gotta just change, make a change, or at least do baby steps. At least like if she's bringing up hints about it, let me just do it right then and there. Because if she's bringing up hints about it, it's just because I need to just do it right then and there. So I will literally just drop everything. Because probably whatever I'm doing
He
is not.
literally will be like, I'll be like, oh, so I was just in the bathroom and I was thinking, about what we were talking about, and he'll just before I even finish, he'll just be like, nope, he'll just fucking put his controller, he'll play like PS5, maybe he'll be watching the game, he'll fucking turn the volume down on the TV or turn it off, put the remote down, or put his PS5 controller down, get up and just start walking towards the bathroom. I'll be like, wait, where are you going? I didn't finish talking. He was like, I know I gotta clean the bathroom. I'm just gonna go do it right now. Just get out of the way. And I'm just like, okay. Like, it's literally what you do. You're just like, nope, not gonna do. You'll just be gone. I'm just like, okay, is that all I have to do?
Yeah, and that's just my way of how it helps me to, yeah, just think about it more and just get more in the routine of just start doing it.
Yeah.
At least if I do that, it might take a year. I don't know how long it'll take, but at least my mind would just be just automatically. It could be like I could just wake up and just just do all the cleaning I need to do, and then like not having you even to say anything. So
Mm.
that's where I want to get to. So I have to take these steps because it's better than me just not doing nothing and just waiting and waiting.
Getting in trouble, and
Yeah,
I will leave you.
yeah.
I will leave you over cleaning.
so so yeah.
But it's not that. It's never like that serious, but it can be. Look at all this weed that just fell on my phone. All right. But yeah, I think we covered that question. I think
hmm
we covered it. All right, so there's one last question. I mean, like three different people asked about open relationship, and I didn't know what to say. But everybody wants to know about like benefits or lack of benefits when opening up a relationship, ups and downs of an open relationship, what boundaries methods work, open relationship. And somebody said just with like 5 exclamation marks after. So that's it. That's the last question.
okay.
Do you want to answer? Because I don't even know what the answer is. Because I thought we weren't in an open relationship anymore. Then you said when you went to your friend's wedding, somebody asked you if you were in an open relationship, and you said yes. And I was like, oh, this is news to me because I thought we had talked about it. And you said that we both agreed that we are not ready for an open relationship.
So when I said that when I was at my friend's wedding, I did not know what I was talking about. I was in a state of a lot was happening on that trip.
Allegedly.
A lot was happening on the trip. I'll tell the
There's
main
some things
point.
you say
I'll
wrong.
just tell the
All
main
right. All
point.
right.
I didn't have any of my luggage. I was just very unhappy being there, etc. So
This
it
is
was just
true.
it was very bad. So I was wrong for saying that. We are not in a open relationship. My whole thing, what I need to do is I need to take steps where I need my own therapist, which I told her I'm going to work on wherever this is this week to focus on. And we need to do our own couples
Yeah, we
therapy
have agreed to do couples
as
therapy.
well. So basically, all I'm saying is that,
I hate couples therapy,
all I'm saying is that I
but
don't
I'll
want
be
to
all
be,
in for
yeah,
you.
yeah, and I appreciate it. My whole thing is that I don't want to be a typical generic person, just say no to everything where I don't do my own research, speak to professional people first, and do my whole analysis of making a proper understanding of how I really feel about it. Because, yeah, it is whatever might be embedded in my brain. I'm trying to break out of that, and just listen to professional people. So that's my whole outlook on it.
And me.
Oh yeah, of course you.
I'm not listening to you too. I've been listening to you, and that's why I'm just like, we just can't do it right now. Like, we just can't have an open relationship because you're just not ready. He is just not ready. And we're not ready because if he's not ready, then we're not ready. And it may
Yeah,
not even be that; it may be something else. But he does know that. Like, I mean, I have a desire to
yeah, I know.
explore. Like that's just who I am. Like that's what I've come to terms with. Like I'm a fucking free spirit. And like he has to understand that it's like he felt that's part of me that you fell in love with. So it's like, yeah, that doesn't just go away because you're in a relationship. Like, like parts of you don't just evaporate because, oh, we're together now, so I'm not going to be this person anymore. Like, what? That's crazy, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
So that's it. We're not in a relationship. I would love to be, like, I really, really wanted to be, but because I really wanted to be, he I felt like it was making us argue a lot because I felt like I was trying to push you to do something that you didn't want to do. And it doesn't feel right when you feel like you're like twisting somebody's arm to do something. It just didn't. It felt like you feel like a bully. And I didn't want to feel like a bully, like, especially to my best friend. Like, you don't want to be bullying your best friend, like, it's just not a good feeling. So it's just like, yikes. Okay, let's just pump the brakes. It's fine. Like, it's not that serious. So, yeah.
Okay, no, and I appreciate that.
I said until therapy, and then we're gonna figure it out in therapy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all them questions.
Okay.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say before we close out?
Just want to say that I'm proud of you, and I'm happy that we're doing this again. It was just like part 3, or
I have no idea. You've been on the podcast. Blah, blah, blah. You've been on the podcast a few times, but only one time this year. So this is the second time you've been on this year.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. But just happy we're doing it somewhere like this, and yeah, just can't wait to be back again. And
oh, you gonna come back? Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm just excited also to see your own growth as well. So that's all. Yeah.
Well,
That's all to
thank
say.
you.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it without you, like I always tell people, like, when I'm here recording the podcast, like, and just doing anything Blunt Blowin Mama business wise, like, you're at home watching the kids, like, you're holding it down. You have helped me tremendously with my business. Like, even when I bitch and moan, and I bitch and moan a lot. I bitch and moan about once every week, twice a week, maybe. I do a lot, and you're very supportive, so I really appreciate you. I feel like a lot of men wouldn't be able to be with me, like, and I've heard that a lot. You know how when you're a kid, sometimes people, I don't know why people be saying that shit, like, Shanitra, but God bless the man that end up with Shanitra. Oh, and I'm just like, what? Rude. But I'm a lot, so I appreciate you. And but you know what, I am a bad bitch, so you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I wouldn't be on the market for long, and you knew that. Well, you know that.
I know
it is. I don't know how he handles me, how he deals with me. But you're just a psycho Aquarius, so that's what it all comes down to.
Whatever you say.
And there's that. Okay, so thank you guys so much for tuning in for this episode of the Blunt Blowin Mama podcast. Thank you, babe,
You're welcome.
for joining.
No problem.
This has been fun. If you guys want to follow Blunt Blowin Mama, you can follow me at Blunt Blowin Mama on Instagram and Twitter. I do be tweeting, so follow me on Twitter. Follow Blunt Blowin Mama on Facebook, and make sure you go to bluntblowinmama.com so you can check out all of the workshops I have, like the Sex and Cannabis Workshop, Pregnancy and Cannabis Workshop, Breastfeeding and Cannabis Workshop. I have resources available for you there at bluntblowinmama.com. You can also get info on the Mama Stash membership. Come join the Mama Stash community. There are women there waiting for you, just like you, who love weed, and that's all we talk about is weed in all of our business. So come join the community. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast, please. Why am I holding this like this? But don't. I'm like holding a pipe in my hand. But don't forget to rate and review the podcast and subscribe. Helps me so much to help reach more people who want to know about cannabis and how it can help their lives. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this episode, and share it with a friend and a friend and a friend. Moms who smoke weed are not bad moms. Cheers, y'all. Bye.